Hey there, picture this. You're enjoying a sunny morning, sipping your coffee, maybe sneaking a glance at the grandkids playing in the yard, when suddenly you feel a little tightness in your chest. It's gone in a moment, but it leaves you wondering, what was that? If you're over 60, like me, you've probably had moments where you pause and think about your heart. It's been beating strong for decades, but let's be honest, it's not something we think about every day until we have to. The truth is, heart attacks don't just sneak up out of nowhere. After 60, 99% of them happen for 5 reasons. Reasons we can actually do something about. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'm not here to scare you or lecture you with a bunch of medical mumbo-jumbo. Instead, I want to have a real conversation, like we're sitting down together with a cup of tea, or maybe something a little stronger if it's been one of those days. We're going to walk through 5 simple, practical things you can do to keep your heart humming along happily so you can keep enjoying those morning coffees, those grandkid hugs, or maybe even a spontaneous dance at the next family wedding. Sound good? Great, let's dive in. Now, before we get to the first reason, let me just say why this matters so much. As we hit our 60s and beyond, our bodies are like those classic cars we used to dream about. Still beautiful, still powerful, but they need a little extra care to keep running smoothly. Heart attacks are one of the biggest roadblocks we face. But the good news is, most of them are preventable. Not by running marathons or giving up every food you love, but by making small, smart choices that add up over time. So what are those 5 reasons your heart might be at risk, and how can you stop them? Let's start with the first one. The first big reason heart attacks happen after 60 is something we all deal with: stress. I know, you're probably thinking, stress? That's just life. And you're not wrong. Whether it's worrying about the kids, keeping up with the bills, or even just trying to figure out how to reset the Wi-Fi for the 10th time this week, stress creeps in. But here's the thing, stress isn't just a feeling. It's like a little gremlin that messes with your heart. When you're stressed, your body pumps out hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which make your heart beat faster and your blood pressure climb. Over time, that extra strain can wear your heart out, like revving an engine too hard for too long. Now, I'm not saying you need to move to a mountaintop and meditate for hours. Unless that's your thing, then go for it. But there are simple ways to dial down the stress without turning your life upside down. One of my favorite tricks is what I call the 5-minute breather. When you feel that tension building, like when the neighbor's dog won't stop barking, find a quiet spot, sit down, and just focus on your breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, then exhale for 4. Do that for 5 minutes, and it's like hitting the reset button on your nerves. I tried this the other day when I was stuck in traffic, and let me tell you, it worked better than yelling at the dashboard. Another great way to tackle stress is to carve out time for something you love. Maybe it's gardening, knitting, or even binge watching that show everyone's talking about. For me, it's tinkering with my old record player. There's something about dropping the needle on a vinyl that just melts the day away. The point is, when you give yourself permission to enjoy something, you're telling stress to take a hike, and your heart will thank you for it. Try picking one thing this week that makes you smile and do it for at least 15 minutes a day. It's not selfish, it's heart medicine. All right, so we've got stress in check, but there's another big reason heart attacks creep up, and it's something we often overlook: our diet. I'm not talking about those trendy diets where you're eating nothing but kale smoothies. I mean the everyday choices we make, like grabbing a donut instead of an apple, or piling on the salt like it's glitter. After 60, our hearts are a little pickier about what we fuel them with, and one of the biggest culprits is too much unhealthy fat and sodium. Let's break this down. Foods like fried chicken, creamy sauces, or those irresistible bags of chips are loaded with fats that can clog up your arteries over time. It's like pouring grease down a drain. Eventually, things get backed up. And sodium? It's sneaky. It's not just in the salt shaker. It's hiding in canned soups, deli meats, even that healthy frozen dinner you popped in the microwave. Too much sodium makes your blood pressure spike, which puts extra strain on your heart. Now, I'm not here to say you can never have a slice of pizza again. Life's too short for that. But small swaps can make a huge difference. For example, instead of frying your favorite foods, try baking or grilling them. I started baking my chicken wings instead of frying them, and with a little spice rub, they're just as crispy and delicious. Another easy trick is to swap out one salty snack a day for something heart-friendly, like a handful of unsalted nuts or some sliced veggies with hummus. My wife got me hooked on carrot sticks with a little dip. It's like chips, but your heart doesn't complain afterward. Here's a story to make this real. My buddy Tom, he's 68, used to live on takeout burgers and fries. He'd laugh and say, "If it tastes good, it's good enough." But after a scare at the doctor's office, he started making one change a week. First, he switched to whole grain buns. Then he added a side salad instead of fries. A year later, he's dropped 15 pounds, and his doctor says his heart's in better shape than it's been in a decade. Tom still enjoys his burgers, but he's smarter about it. You don't have to overhaul everything. Just start with one swap and build from there. Oh, and one more thing about diet. Don't skip breakfast. I know some folks think it's no big deal, but a simple meal like oatmeal with a few berries or a piece of whole grain toast with avocado can set your heart up for a great day. It's like giving your car a full tank before a road trip. Try it tomorrow morning and see how you feel. So we were just talking about how stress and diet can sneak up on your heart. And now let's chat about something that's just as important: moving your body. I know what you might be thinking. Move? At my age, I'm not exactly training for the Olympics. And trust me, I get it. After 60, the idea of exercise can feel like a chore, especially if your knees creak louder than the floorboards, or you're just plain tired by the end of the day. But here's the good news. You don't need to run a marathon or join a gym to keep your heart happy. The third big reason heart attacks happen after 60 is not moving enough, and fixing that is easier than you might think. Let's paint a picture. Your heart's like a trusty old engine. It needs to rev up now and then to stay in top shape. When we sit too much, whether it's watching TV, reading, or scrolling through that endless stream of cat videos, our heart doesn't get the workout it needs. Over time, that can make it harder for it to pump blood efficiently, and it can even lead to things like high cholesterol or extra weight creeping on. But moving doesn't mean you have to break a sweat like you're 20 again. It's about finding little ways to get your blood flowing that feel good and fit into your life. One of the simplest things you can do is walk. I'm not talking about power walking like you're late for the bus, just a gentle stroll. A 15-minute walk around the block after dinner can do wonders. It's like giving your heart a little hug. It gets to pump a bit harder, and you might even sleep better. I started doing this a couple of years ago, and I swear, I look forward to it now. I pop in some earbuds, listen to a podcast or maybe some oldies, and before I know it, I've done a lap around the neighborhood. Sometimes I even wave at the neighbors. They probably think I'm up to something. If walking's not your thing, there are other ways to move. Maybe it's dancing to your favorite song in the kitchen. Nobody's judging, and if they are, they're missing out on the fun. Or try some chair exercises if getting up is tough. Just sit up straight, lift your knees one at a time like you're marching, or do some arm circles for a minute or two. I saw my aunt do this during a commercial break, and she swears it's why she's still beating everyone at cards. She says it keeps her sharp and her heart strong. Here's a quick story. My friend Linda, she's 72, used to say she was allergic to exercise. But after her doctor told her she needed to move more, she started small. She'd walk to her mailbox and back every day, then added a loop around her garden. Now she's up to 20 minutes a day, and she says she feels like she's 50 again. Well, maybe 55 on a bad day. The point is, you don't have to go big. Start with 5 minutes a day, then add a minute every week. Your heart will thank you, and you might even find yourself smiling more. Oh, and one more tip. Try to make it fun. Grab a friend to walk with, or if you're like me and love a good deal, get one of those step trackers. It's like a little game to see if you can hit 5,000 steps. I'm not saying you need to hit 10,000 like the magazines tell you. Just do what feels good. The key is to keep it regular, like brushing your teeth. Even a little movement every day adds up to a lot less strain on your heart. All right, so we've got movement covered, but there's another reason heart attacks sneak up. And it's something we don't always think about: sleep. Yep, how you catch your Z's can make a big difference. When I first heard this, I thought, sleep? I'm great at that. But it turns out there's more to it than just closing your eyes for a few hours. Getting good sleep is like giving your heart a vacation every night. When you sleep, your body repairs itself, your blood pressure dips, and your heart gets a break from all the hustle of the day. But after 60, sleep can get tricky. Maybe you're waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason, or you're tossing and turning because your mind's racing about tomorrow's to-do list. If you're not getting enough good sleep, say 7 to 8 hours a night, it can mess with your heart. Studies show that poor sleep can raise your blood pressure and even make you more likely to gain weight, both of which are like inviting trouble to your ticker. So, how do you sleep better? First, try to stick to a routine. I know it sounds boring, but going to bed and waking up at the same time every day is like setting a rhythm for your heart. I started turning off the TV an hour before bed. Tough at first, especially during a good movie, but it's made a difference. Instead, I read a book or listened to some calm music. It's like telling my brain, all right, time to wind down. Another trick is to make your bedroom a sleep sanctuary. Keep it cool, dark, and quiet. Think of it like a cozy cave. I got one of those cheap blackout curtains, and it's like magic for keeping the morning sun from waking me up too early. And if you're still struggling, try cutting back on caffeine after lunch. I love my afternoon coffee, but switching to decaf after noon helped me stop counting sheep at midnight. Here's something that happened to my cousin Ed. He's 65 and was always bragging about how he only needed 5 hours of sleep. But he was tired all the time, and his doctor warned him his blood pressure was climbing. Ed started taking sleep seriously, dimmed the lights at night, stopped checking his phone before bed, and even tried a little lavender spray on his pillow. Now he's sleeping 7 hours, and he says he feels like a new man. Plus, he's not nodding off during family dinners anymore, which we all appreciate. One last thing about sleep, don't stress if you have an off night. It happens. Just focus on building those good habits over time. If you're really struggling, it might be worth chatting with your doctor, because sometimes things like snoring can be a sign of something more serious, like sleep apnea, which isn't great for your heart either. All right, so we've been chatting about how to keep your heart in tip-top shape with less stress, smarter eating, moving a bit more, and catching those precious C's. Now let's wrap this up with the fifth big reason heart attacks happen after 60. And trust me, it's one that ties everything together. It's all about staying on top of your health with regular checkups. I know, nobody loves going to the doctor. It's like scheduling a dentist appointment or trying to fix that squeaky door you've been ignoring forever. But hear me out. This one's a game changer, and it's easier than you think to make it work for you. Think of your heart like the engine of that classic car we talked about earlier. Even if you're driving it gently, you still need to pop the hood now and then to make sure everything's running smoothly. After 60, little things can start to build up. Blood pressure that's a touch too high, cholesterol that's sneaking into the danger zone, or even blood sugar that's acting like it's got a mind of its own. These don't always shout, "Hey, I'm a problem." Sometimes they're quiet, like a cat tiptoeing through the house. And that's why heart attacks can catch us off guard. Regular checkups are like having a mechanic who spots the trouble before you're stuck on the side of the road. Now, I'm not saying you need to camp out at the doctor's office. A yearly visit, maybe 2, is usually enough to keep tabs on the big stuff. They'll check your blood pressure, run a few blood tests, and maybe listen to your heart to make sure it's humming along. It's not about finding something wrong. It's about catching things early so they don't turn into something big. For example, high blood pressure is one of the sneakiest culprits behind heart attacks. It's called the silent killer because you can feel perfectly fine while it's putting extra strain on your heart. A quick check can spot it, and if it's high, there are simple fixes like tweaking your diet, adding a walk, or maybe a little medication that can bring it right back down. Let me tell you about my neighbor, Rose. She's 67, loves her crossword puzzles, and always has a story to share. A couple of years ago, she was feeling a bit more tired than usual, but brushed it off as just getting older. Thank goodness she went for her annual checkup because her doctor found her cholesterol was through the roof. Rose didn't need a major overhaul. She started eating more oatmeal, swapped butter for olive oil, and took a low-dose medication. Now she's back to her puzzles with more energy than ever, and her heart's in great shape. That checkup was like a little nudge that saved her a lot of trouble down the line. Here's the thing. Checkups aren't just about numbers. They're a chance to ask questions. Maybe you've noticed your heart racing sometimes, or you're curious if that extra glass of wine is okay. Your doctor's there to help, not to judge. I started bringing a little notebook to my visits. Nothing fancy, just a few scribbles about how I'm feeling or what I want to ask. It's like having a cheat sheet, and it makes the visit feel like a conversation, not a test. Try it next time, even if it's just jotting down, "Why do I feel winded after climbing the stairs?" You'd be surprised how much those little chats can clear up. Oh, and don't skip the dentist either. Crazy as it sounds, gum health matters for your heart. I laughed when my doctor told me that, but apparently gum disease can cause inflammation that messes with your ticker. So keep those teeth sparkling. It's one more way to show your heart some love. Now, as we pull all this together, think about what we've covered. We started with stress, that pesky gremlin that makes your heart work overtime, and how a few minutes of breathing or doing something you love can tame it. Then we talked about food, not about giving up everything tasty, but making small swaps like grilling instead of frying or grabbing an apple over a bag of chips. We got into moving your body, whether it's a short walk or a kitchen dance party, because even a little bit keeps your heart smiling. Sleep came next, and how setting up a cozy routine can give your heart the rest it deserves. And now with checkups, we're making sure those little problems stay little. The beauty of all this is that it's not about turning your life upside down. It's about small steps, like picking one thing to try this week, maybe a 5-minute walk, a new veggie at dinner, or booking that doctor's visit you've been putting off. I think of it like tending a garden. You don't need to replant the whole thing every day. Just water a little here, pull a weed there, and over time, it blooms. Your heart's the same way. Every small choice you make is like a bit of sunshine, helping it thrive. I'd love to hear how you're doing with this. Have you tried any of these ideas before? Or is there something new you're thinking about? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone, and it's like getting a letter from a friend. And if you found this helpful, give the video a thumbs up. It helps more folks like us find it. Better yet, hit that subscribe button so we can keep chatting about ways to live your best life. No matter how many candles are on the cake, here's to you, to your heart, and to all the moments you're going to keep enjoying, whether it's chasing grandkids, laughing with friends, or just savoring that quiet cup of coffee in the morning. You've got this, and your heart's cheering you on every step of the way.